their last home game of the season. It's probably I'm not defensive about it. Yes, people, what's happening? Welcome back to the channel and welcome to another live stream and your daily Chelsea news update. International break is upon us once again, but as always, there's plenty to talk about with Chelsea. We're sitting fourth at the moment. Do the club have a discipline problem? Is there an issue with Enzo Fernandez as well? A lot of people have been talking about him after the Nottingham Forest game, and there's also been a lot of conversation surrounding Wesley Fofana. A lot of people that I've interact with don't think he's that good and think he should be replaced from the team. So there's lots to discuss as always. Nina, thank you for coming. Appreciate it as always. Yeah, talk to me. Obviously, we had a game yesterday. Have your thoughts changed from after the game until today? I mean, do you think it was decent? You happy with it? Obviously frustrating to drop points, but you know, sometimes you just got to give praise to the opposition. They've done a decent job, and we didn't take our chances.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm on the same page as you, and I don't think I feel that negative about the game. I think, you know, there's definitely positive takeaways. It's frustrating, and especially when you put into context that they were a man down, and on paper that sounds like it should have been easier for Chelsea, but actually I think it was a bit more difficult. But, you know, we have to credit Nottingham Forest. I thought they put up a brilliant fight. They made it difficult for us to break them down. They were, you know, shutting down a lot of our opportunities, and I think, you know, both keepers on both ends probably did most for their sides to take a point away. But yeah, I mean, when you look at it and the fact that at the death we could have conceded and this game could have been defeat, I think you actually have to be a little bit grateful that you did take a point away from home. So it's definitely a learning curve. I knew going into the game it would be difficult. I said this would be the hardest game in that run we've had at home so far, and it proved to be. So it was feisty, bit frustrating. I don't think the referee helped either. It definitely added to the tense atmosphere a little bit, but I think a point for both teams at the end of the day is probably fair.
No, I would agree. Yeah, it's frustrating. Like, I think, to be honest, though, like it's the sort of games that we've struggled in the past, and like if that game was last season, we definitely lose.
We lost it last season.
We did lose it last season, and you know those are exactly the kind of games where we're not going to win. Last season, and you know what? Yeah, okay, we do struggle against teams that you know sit back a bit, make themselves tough to break down, and we actually created chances. So I wasn't disappointed. I would have been far more disappointed if we'd created absolutely nothing. But the fact is, you know, we created chances. We just didn't take our opportunities. And do you know what? You do have to give Forest some credit. They came and did a good job. They got a goal from a set piece. They defended really well. They made themselves hard to beat. And arguably, as you said, you know, we were quite lucky to get out with a point ourselves. You know, two very good chances they had at the end. I think the Nico Williams one was actually, no, Neco Williams, whatever he's called, was a very good opportunity. And if that had fallen to someone better, like a Gibbs White who stood on the pitch, or even Chris Wood, like I think that could have been a different story for us. So yeah, look, you know, frustrating. It is what it is. But in terms of the start of the season, obviously, you know, we're October international break now. We sit fourth in the table. We're 4 points off the top. I mean, I don't think we should really be like looking at who's at the top of the table, to be perfectly honest. But are you happy with what you've seen? Has it exceeded your expectations? I mean, what are your thoughts? We're 14 points from 21. We've had 4 wins, 2 draws, and just the 1 loss. Happy with the start to the season? Do you think Maresca's doing a good job on whatnot? What things would you like? What things have you liked, and what things do you think? Yeah, actually, do you know what? There's still some improvement we can make there.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm pretty pleased with the start to the season. And to answer your question, if it's exceeded my expectations, I didn't know what to expect coming into the season. Quite apprehensive about certain things. So I would say, yeah, absolutely. It's been a really positive start for us. You can see a clear form of improvement on last season. You know, you already see that some of the teams we've beaten this season that we lost to, you know, like your Wolves who did the double over us, you know, tough games against Brighton, etc. I think is a real positive. You can see that Maresca's implemented some form of identity and style on the pitch. It's very evident and easy to say what we're doing. You know, you can see our intentions. I think another thing last season that we lacked was a lack of clarity with what Pochettino was trying to do with the team, and it seemed to change game in, game out. But the fact that we're very consistent, and I can already see that Maresca is very good at adapting his approach to games based on who he's playing. He even does it in game, like we saw against Brighton. We set up in a certain way against them, but that changed with the course of the game because we saw that Brighton actually did surprise us in that first half a little bit. So I think the fact that he's able to really quickly adapt to circumstances, his in-game management seems to be really positive so far. I think it's great. So far, so good. But again, people are saying, oh, well, you've played this and you've played that, but you can only beat what's in front of you. And again, considering we've done pretty well, we've scored, is it like 17, 18 goals in the last few games?
No, we scored a lot of goals. We got 16. We got 16 in the league. This must have been the first time we've only scored one goal in what? The last time we scored one goal was against Bournemouth, and that was a good few games ago. So yeah, look, you're not going to be free scoring every game, and we're going to have to learn to win in different ways. You've got to learn to win in different ways. You can't be a team that only wins when the opposition plays in a certain way. You've got to be a team that can win in multiple different ways. And I actually think at the start of this season, we have demonstrated we can win in different ways. We ground out a result against Bournemouth, which we didn't really deserve. We scored for fun against Brighton. We played very well against West Ham. So we have shown that we can win games in different ways and get points in different ways, but there's still a long way for this team to go. Look, I understand when people say, oh, Chelsea haven't played anyone yet. Okay, fine. But, we don't pick the fixtures. You can only play what's in front of you. And the teams that we've played, if you compare to how we did in those games last season, we are, I think, 7 or 8 points better off. We lost away at Wolves last season. We won this season. We drew away at Bournemouth. We've won. We lost away at West Ham. We won. We beat Palace and we drew this year. We drew against Man City at home last season and whatever. But do you know what I mean? Like, we're actually on these fixtures last season, we are better off. But just quickly on the home form, right? Because under Poch, the home form did improve. Do you have any concerns at all that we are only 1 win from 4 in the league this season at Stamford Bridge? Obviously, we won all 3 of our games on the road, but the only win we've had at home is the one against Brighton. Obviously, draws to Forest and Palace and a defeat to City. Does the home form concern you at all? Or it's just kind of one of them things where the games we've had at home, all right, City's almost a bit of, I don't want to say a free hit, but, you can lose to City. There's no shame in that. And then Palace and Forest, we had the chances to win. We just didn't take them. Any concerns about 1 win from 4 at home?
I think it's still a bit of a small sample to judge from. I think it is kind of easier to say that because, again, these teams are probably ones we should have beaten. I think luck does play into it a little bit. We also were at our own fault for the draws a little bit as well. But, I think that we'll see when it comes to playing like the top 6 teams. I think those are the ones I'm obviously most intrigued in, bar City, because we've already played them at home. But I think that's when we see a bit of a differentiation, and we might be a little bit more effective because obviously the atmospheres will be better. It is definitely interesting, though, that we've been able to pick up points away with ease almost. Stamford Bridge is still a little bit harder, but maybe there's something about a 1-1 draw before international break because it puts us into better form afterwards and we get to win. But yeah, I guess we'll see. I don't know. But again, like I said, it's pretty much easy to say, oh, Chelsea have not played anyone really that good yet. But again, like you said yourself, you can only beat what's in front of you. And, we'll cross that bridge when we get to it. We'll see how we do.
It's also the same for Liverpool as well. Liverpool haven't played anyone of note yet. They lost to Forest at home. We done slightly better there. Look, people are saying Liverpool are doing well. Liverpool are doing well. But if you look at, we've both played Forest and Palace. They lost at home to Forest and we got a point. Obviously, they beat Palace and we didn't. So in them 2 games, we're only a point down on what they've been doing. So, like, I don't think a point. Look, obviously in isolation, a point at home to Nottingham Forest in theory is not a very good result. But I think too many people just see a result and don't apply any context to it whatsoever. Yeah. I'm not sitting here saying, oh, I'm really happy with that result. No, of course I'm not. You're always disappointed when you drop points, particularly at home to teams that, in theory, you should be beating. But if you actually sit back and look how we played, look at the chances that we created. It wasn't our best performance of the season by any imagination, but we did more than enough to win that game. And I've seen progress and positive signs to to build on in that regard. Let me get to a few things in the chat first, and then we will move on. By the way, guys, make sure you're smashing that like button and subscribing if you're new around here as well. What else have we got going on in here? Yes, big up, bro. Yes, all right. Yes, the low block, mate. So many Forest fans were rattled about the low block comments, but it was obviously it was low when it went to 10. But to be fair, it wasn't actually that deep. Yeah, they sat back more than.
They pushed us out wide, which I think was really clever because that was something
did.
that they
And do you know what? Like, why there's more than one way to get a result in football matches. One thing that really annoys me is why teams get looked down on for playing in a certain way or getting results in a certain way. You know, there's so many different ways to play football. At the end of the day, it's about getting the points on the board. And if you get the points on the board by playing a style of football that might not be as pleasing on the eye to some people, what does that matter? Like that's one thing that does annoy me, is that how different styles of football just get looked down on differently. You know, there's different ways to play the game. Not everyone's going to play the same way. Last season we were losing this game. Agreed, we would have lost this game last season. Yes, Brian, big up, brother. After Bournemouth and West Ham, many of us asked Maresca to see Tosin and Colwell. We're going to get Tosin and Colwell. Absolutely, Vega will start. Chilwell's not going to start. Absolutely not. What else have we got going on? Anyway, I just wanted to talk about something that's emerging again in terms of Chelsea, and that is a supposed lack of discipline. Obviously, last season, I think we racked up a Premier League record amount of yellow cards. Now, they weren't all for dirty play. A lot of it for dissent and all that sort of thing. But after 7 games, we're already top the table on 27 bookings already. So we're almost averaging over 3 bookings a game, nearly 4 bookings per match. We're averaging this season already. Colwell and Fofana are both, Cucurella and Fofana are both suspended. 5 bookings in 7 games, which is not good, really, when you think about it. Maresca said afterwards that he's not concerned about it. He likes seeing a fighting spirit in the team. But if we continue like this, we're going to pick up a lot of needless suspensions, which could cause us problems. We could pick up red cards as well as a result. Do you think we have got a discipline problem? Because I think it was 105 bookings last season, 27 already now. Do you think it's a discipline problem at Chelsea? Because you look at us, right, and we're not a dirty side. You know, we don't give away a lot of like awful fouls or anything like that. I mean, a lot of it's with dissent and whatnot. But yeah, do you think there's a discipline problem? Because there's now sort of this narrative is now starting to form again. I mean, what were your thoughts on it?
I think it's an Anthony Taylor problem, not a discipline problem, thanks to the Bournemouth game. But no, I think there's definitely certain individuals in the team that maybe do need to relax a little bit. I think I look at Levi Colwell, and I've watched him now in many situations. If there's a bit of a scrap on the pitch, he's often almost the first involved in that, or he's very much involved.
You want that fighting spirit, though. You do,
but it's in the wrong way sometimes. You know, Levi Colwell. How many times have we seen, even in pre-season, and that's a friendly, pretty much. You know, you're not meant to be that fired up in a friendly. And you know, I don't have any problem with a good attitude and want to, you know, defend your teammates, etc. But it can often lead to you know, things like that, where you talk about disciplinary action taken against us. He was very fired up yesterday as well, and you know, we had to have our other teammates kind of push him aside, relax him a little bit. And you know, yeah, I get that he's got a little bit of fire to him, but if it means that somewhere down the line, particularly with how crucial in him playing in our back line that could be, and how you know, potentially threatening that could be to our back line in future games if it ever does lead to a sending off, then that will be a real shame on him. There's nothing wrong with our players, though, you know, going up and having a word, but I don't really condone that type of behavior game in, game out. It's just a little bit excessive for me. But yeah, I do get what you mean. I think, you know, there is a reason to be concerned about discipline a little bit, but again, I think we saw an improvement on that last season, where even players like Jackson and Madueke, they were also the ones with a bit more kind of fire to their arguments, I guess, if you like to say. Jackson also loves a little bit of an argument on the pitch. And yeah, Nico, we love you, but you do need to relax a little bit sometimes. I think it's more of a thing where it's with age as well, isn't it? You know, a lot of these players are quite young still, and there's almost that kind of idea and intention to prove yourself a little bit on the pitch or make yourself kind of vocal. Because you do see with the more senior players, they tend to deal with things a little bit more differently on the pitch. So I guess it is also an age thing. But I'm sure that Maresca will deal with that a little bit, because, you know, last thing we want is players missing games due to poor decision making regarding reaction to scraps, etc. It's something that we should need to avoid. But I do think it's just a bit of a maturity thing, really.
No, I agree. I also think it doesn't help that almost anything these days is a booking.
Like yesterday as well, though. Don't you think the referee, everything was a foul in the second half, especially? It was just let the game go.
He honestly, he lost complete control of the game yesterday. Yeah. You know, it played right into Forest's hands. You know, he wasn't doing anything about the time wasting. And look, you know, I totally understand time wasting is part of the game. You know, teams are going to do that. We're gonna do it. And like when you're on the receiving end of it, it's shit. But the reality is, like, referees have got to do more to clamp down on that. They wasted so much time yesterday. And I'm not saying, look, I know 13 minutes were added on, but they wasted a lot of time. And the referee just lost complete and utter control. And look, I agree with you. I like the passion. I like the fight in this team. But there's a fine line. Look, I think it's really important that these guys all stick up for each other. They're all prepared to, you know, go to war for their teammates and whatnot. But you know, you don't want them to sit back and not do anything. But then, you know, little scuffles like this could happen, you know, once every couple of games. And before you know it, you're picking up a suspension, 5 bookings in the first 7 games. And it's like, well, Chelsea aren't a dirty team at all. You don't watch Chelsea and think, geez, this team's dirty. They're giving away fouls all the time. We're not. You know, I think the majority of these bookings have pretty much come from dissent issues. And I think a lot of them would have come in that game against Bournemouth as well. That's not an excuse, but the reality is that we probably do need to tone it back a little bit. And look, I get it, you know, it's sport, it's heat at the moment. It's quite hard to rein yourself in. But if we don't try and rein ourselves in a little bit, then we are going to be without key players for big games. Now, you know, yesterday, I think Cucurella's booking was a bit nonsense, really. What he got cleaned out.
Yeah, I agree.
He got cleaned out by Williams, or Williams slipped or whatever, and it sent him into the gaffer. And then, you know, a bit of a melee.
He slide tackled him.
A bit of a melee ensues, and I'm just thinking, well, why has he been booked for that? I think it's one of them where the refs just looked at it and thought, well, I don't really know who's at fault here. I'm just going to book everyone that I think was involved.
And also, can I just add that, you know, Enzo, I think Maresca, I think, was a little bit annoyed with Colwell as well. I could tell, because obviously he brought him off shortly after, and you're potentially looking at something that can be avoided, you know, because he's putting him in a position where he feels that, you know, it's gearing up to the end of the game. We're still drawing, you know, it's almost intensity's rising, tensions rising. Both teams are going at each other, and he knows that if he keeps Colwell on a little bit longer, then with how he's fired up, he could potentially make a rash decision in that late, and then you're talking about another sending off. So that's something that you shouldn't really be putting your manager in a position of doing, you know. Do you know what I mean? It's almost like a precaution that he feels that you need to be brought off, otherwise it could lead to potentially another red card later on in the game.
But you also know as well that, like, the opposition will know full well that certain players are riled up and certain players that are on bookings, and they're going to make the most of absolutely everything to try and get these guys sent off. So look, it's I don't want to call it a problem, but it's something that we need to be wary of, and it's something that could cause us problems, because now, you know, we go into our biggest game of the season against Liverpool after the break, and we've got half of our first choice back four missing. Now it's a squad game, and you know, Vega and Tosin will probably come in, and I'm sure they'll do a reasonable job. But it's never an ideal situation to be without 2 of your first choice back four heading to Anfield. But kind of nicely leads us on to the next point. Like, I'm seeing a lot of people come in for Fofana in terms of, he's a liability, he's making loads of mistakes. Tosin should be playing instead of him. I'm just thinking, I'm looking at Fofana, right? And I think, well, okay, let's look at mistakes that he's made. All right, he was at fault for the penalty against Bournemouth. Okay, fair. Yesterday, he got beaten for one of those chances late on in the box, which he got beaten quite easily. Should do better there.
Wolves away.
Wolves away is
away.
What for the marking for the set piece?
No, not just that. I think even for after the first goal, again, Cunha was kind of left unmarked. I think Wesley Fofana was out of position for either one of the first two goals he made. Yeah, he was at fault for one of those goals. I can't remember which one, but yeah.
Fair enough. But I think people give him a hard time, and I also think that guys, people need to remember the guy's not played for a year. This is his first 7 games since 2 seasons ago. It's going to take a little bit of time for him to get back up to speed. But I don't watch Fofana and think he's a liability for this Chelsea team. I don't look at him and think, oh my God, he's costing us points where we're a worse team with him. I mean, why do you think that people are calling for Tosin to play? Why do you think people are not happy with what Fofana's doing? Because at the end of the day, you want continuity in your defensive pairing. And I'm looking at the games this season, and I'm not thinking, oh, we need to change this partnership.
Yeah, well, me and you had a bit of not a disagreement, but we did talk about Fofana the last time, we were on here, and I will say this, I don't necessarily have a problem with Fofana or see him as a liability, but I will say that I'm not 100% secure or find him that reliable. And again, this is a case of he's not played, like you said, he's pretty much like a new signing for me, because we've not pretty much seen him in this first season at Chelsea, and he's had various unlucky injuries. But I do still look back at that fee, and I think I massively elevate my expectations, because he comes with that, he's one of the more experienced players. He came in and people placed him to be one of our best defenders when he did come in, and I guess people still look at him through that lens, so there's almost that bigger expectation there. But I think for me, he's still a work in progress defender at Chelsea, that is. I'm not looking at his previous spell at Leicester or whatever, but I'm looking at his performances in a Chelsea shirt. I think there's still a lot to do, there's a lot to prove, and again, it's early days in the season, but I do think he makes mistakes. I'm not secure in our whole back line necessarily yet. I think there's a lot of people, and this is not me just singling Wesley Fofana out. It's just because obviously he's our current topic of conversation that I'm talking about him this way. But for me, I've not seen enough. And actually, I think it's a positive, not that he's, out and suspended for whatever for Liverpool, but the fact that we get to see Tosin, because I think he, with the few performances he's had, warrants a start, or at least to see how he can do in this, back line against potentially Liverpool. And I think that's a bit of a healthy competition there to have, who's going to be paired with Colwill. But Fofana's not a bad player by any means. I just do look at some of the games where we conceded defensively, and I can find errors that he has made. If we're going to criticise defenders, like we know we have Disasi and Badiashile, then I think it's only fair that we also criticise Fofana for the mistakes he has made. But you know what, I will praise him against Nottingham Forest yesterday, because I actually think in the first half he was involved in a lot of clearances. There were times where he was clearing balls from set pieces. He was, trying to pass it out as much as he could. So again, there's positives. We also have to talk about those, but I think it's just a case of I want to see more.
No, look, I get that, but I'm also looking at it from a partnership point of view. And I think one of the reasons he plays, not only because he's a big money signing, but he's very good on the ball. He's got a lot of pace as well. He's got that recovery speed. If you look at him, if you compare him to someone like Tosin, who is probably a bit more passive, he's not as good on the ball. He's going to be someone that, is able to defend the box very well, but he's not got the same skill set as Fofana whatsoever. Tosin's not going to be a guy that you really build up from the back with. He's not going to be a guy that's got that recovery speed that can take the ball out from the back. You've seen Fofana do it. He gets on the ball and he takes it forward. He drives forward with it. He's able to bring it out from the back. Tosin's different. He's a different kind of player. He's obviously going to be more beneficial for defending set pieces. He offers more presence in both boxes. But in terms of how an Enzo Maresca team wants to play, and in terms of how he's setting up, Fofana is far better suited to Maresca's way of playing football than Tosin is, because Tosin hasn't got the ability to bring the ball out. He's not as good on the ball. He offers a different option, and he's been very good when he's played. But if we're being honest, in terms of partnering Colwill, Fafana is a much better option because of the skill set that he's got, and compared to Tosin. Like, I'm not saying I'd be disappointed if Tosin plays, but his skill set and his characteristics don't suit Enzo Maresca's style of playing.
I get that. I think with Tosin, I mean, to be honest with you, I didn't like, you know how there was loads of players who were linked with. I think Tosin for me didn't really excite me that much in terms of signing. I mean, he obviously came in as a free. There was no really risk there with signing him. But, you know, I do look at him and think both defensively and offensively for set pieces, he could be quite crucial in the box. I think
agree.
It's really refreshing that we have this much height we do in our backline. I think that's something that, you know, we've lacked previously to be able to see that, you know, we have a little bit more dominance, hopefully, for aerial duels, etc. But yeah, I do agree with you. I get that. I think, you know, Fofana is a lot quicker. He's got a lot more pace. He probably offers a little bit more offensively, like you say, in terms of kind of progressing the ball from out the back. But yeah, we'll see. Again, I'm not that, you know, fixated yet on what our strongest back line is. I think fullbacks kind of goes without saying, but maybe more to as a centre back duo. I think that's something that is still a bit of an open book for Enzo, and he's kind of keeping a close eye and seeing that. And it also comes with the fact that we've got as many options as we do, right? It's great that we've got them. You got different centre backs starting in the cup games, to the Premier League games. But again, I think it's something that still could potentially see a bit of a shift around. I think Colwill solidified his spot, I think, because again, he showed real signs of improvement. There's a lot. I think he just needs to work on his relaxing a little bit. Maybe he should take a little bit some meditation classes or something like that. But yeah, I think with Colwill he's a little bit of a volcano sometimes.
Yeah, but you like that passion, you like that fight. Look, I think it's definitely an interesting one, but I think for me personally, I think Maresca's settled on his strongest team, or what he thinks his best team is right now. You know, it's the team that started yesterday is the first choice team, and that doesn't mean that it's not going to change, but that's the team that he's gone with, and that's the team that is performing and getting results. Yeah, there's going to be changes. There will be changes in rotation and whatnot, and players will come in. But he's settled on the strongest 11 so far, and I think it's difficult to argue against it. You know, I think it really is tricky to argue against Chelsea's strongest 11 right now, which is the one that's out on the pitch. And I think that's a big plus for us as well, is that this quickly Maresca already seems to have settled on
2 11s
on what he thinks is his best team. I think that's a massive problem that Pochettino had, not all through his own fault, obviously, with so many injuries last season.
Yeah, exactly what I was going to say.
We had to keep changing the team, which obviously doesn't help. Now we've got a settled team. That does make a big difference. But I mean, just going back to this, how concerned are you about our set piece defending still? Because that was another set piece where it was defended so badly. Gusto, I think, was weak challenging the I can't remember who flicked it on now. Gusto was weak in challenging the Forest lad that flicked it on. And then, it was just crap. I mean, Bernardo Cueva's come in. I'm not really sure what work he's been doing on the set pieces, but at the moment, it doesn't seem to be working. Defensively, we still look like we've got issues. And then I think we've only scored from one set piece. I think that was the corner at Wolves. And more importantly, it doesn't matter what set piece work we're doing. If you can't get your corner past the first man, as demonstrated on multiple occasions yesterday, it's totally pointless having this guy, because we're not even able to get the ball into the position to even be a threat from set play. So, I mean, I look at it and I think part of our problem is we've got a lack of presence in both boxes, which is why I think we struggle from set pieces. You talk about height. There is no height really in that back line. I know Sanchez is kind of a big guy, but I mean, Cucurella and Gusto aren't exactly the biggest guys. Fofana's not particularly tall. Colwell's probably
he's our tallest defender,
but we lack presence, and it's not like we've got big players up the other end of the pitch that can come back and help defend. You know, like Drogba used to come back and
Jackson's really good at. Jackson's quite good at defending those.
He's all right, but like Jackson's not a physical presence, is he? You know, this is part of the problem. You look at the squad that we've built, right, and it's great and there's loads of talent in it.
Yeah.
But if you're looking at profiles, I think there's a reason why we lose so many physical battles, because we haven't got any physical players.
Yeah, I do agree with you that sometimes I think for both offensively and defensively, if attacking and defending set pieces is a problem. And I think, especially in the first half, do you remember when Caicedo went in for a really late challenge? That was the first set piece that Ward-Prowse took in the first half. And I mean, that challenge was so late. And I just thought to myself, considering that is still such a weakness to our game, defending set pieces, we still do really need to improve on that. It was just such a silly a silly challenge to go in for, considering he was seconds off and late. But my point is that I saw Sanchez, because I was sat behind the goal. Sanchez was shouting at them, literally screaming, navigating them. It took so long to figure out who was positioned where for defending that set piece, to a point where it seemed like the players were a little bit confused with what was going on. Sanchez was kind of shouting out orders. So that makes me feel like, there is still a little bit of a question mark to what everyone's role is when it comes to defending those. We were quite lucky that it went nowhere near. It wasn't, I don't even think it was on shot, but on target. But the point is that that is an area that we can be punished on. You look at Ward-Prowse, you think how effective he is from set pieces. Maybe not on this occasion yesterday, but it is still you putting yourself in that situation where you could be punished for it. Equally with corners. I mean, I don't know why, Charlie, and disagree with me if you want. Why is Enzo Fernandez taking corner kicks? Because this isn't necessarily a criticism, but more often
Palmer was taking them in the first half.
But Enzo was taking them in the second half at times, and it just felt to me as if he doesn't beat his first man often.
He doesn't. But this has been a problem for years.
And to me, it's like Enzo Maresca would much rather have more height in the box than anything else. But if it's not getting to anyone,
Fernandez is not adding much height in the box, I'll be honest.
That's what I'm saying though. But if that set piece isn't going to anyone in the box, then what's the point of having height in there? So
I wonder why that's. I wonder if that's why we go short so often.
Maybe
because we can't beat the first man, and two, because we don't really have any physical presence in there. It's a problem, And when
we have two at the corner flag too, even though it's going to be a long kick. I don't get that too. Why?
Maybe I don't know. I really don't know. But what I do know is that if we don't fix up, we've got Arsenal coming up next month next month.
Yeah.
Like they're a joke at set pieces. Like we don't fix up, we could literally be 3-4 down, quite easily just from set pieces. Given
they have a lot of physical presence in the box.
Yeah, they do. Saliba, Gabriel, even Rice. I know Rice takes them, Partey and whatnot. Like there's a lot of presence in there. So yeah, it's a problem that needs fixing. But it's quite satisfying to know that we're doing pretty well. And yet there are still so many things that we can improve on. Let me just get to a couple of things in the chat, guys. Make sure you're still smashing the likes. Run it up. We're only on 29 likes, guys. That's pathetic. This needs to be at least 50.
Come on, guys.
Should be more. Come on, guys. It's not hard to do. So yeah, just make sure you run it up and subscribe as well. I feel about 50 away from 12k. So make sure you are subscribing if you're new around here. But yeah, please run the likes up. It is greatly appreciated. Let's see what people are saying in the chat. I'll just start down the bottom. Yes, Luke, hope you're doing well, bro. I think despite Dark Arts, I think 1-1 was fair result. Yeah, fair. Do we think Reece will be back for Anfield? No, absolutely won't be. If he is back for Anfield, the best he'll be is the bench. Is it last chance saloon? No, I don't think so. But what I would say is when he comes back, if he breaks down again and is injured and say like the first 4 or 5 games back, then you've got to start to think, what do we do here? Is that where you are with Reece briefly? Like if he comes, look, right now I'm not really thinking about Reece. We've got Gusto, we're playing well. Take the time you need.
It's easier not to miss him that much. Yeah, but I agree though.
If he comes back, like for you, is it you really going to judge him on what happens when he comes back? If he comes back and it's 4 or 5 games and he breaks down again, then for me, I'm going to be thinking, yeah, we need to do something here.
Yeah, I think that will be the last straw for me too, because I think Enzo won't make the mistake of rushing him back too quickly. I think every previous manager we've had has done that, because Reece James has been so crucial and our best player pretty much in recent years, and he's always been heavily overly relied on, which has led to injuries. But yeah, I think we'll have to ask some serious questions, particularly because touch wood for now, everyone's managing to stay fit and
he's the only guy injured.
Yeah. So that's a big saying. If he comes back and gets injured, bless him, then goodness me, what an unlucky guy.
Yeah, it would be a problem, wouldn't it? It would
Be
be
a
a problem.
shame.
Yeah, I agree with like a leader. Yeah, the subs were too late. And look, against physically dominant teams, we are going to get dominated. You know, it goes back to the profiles in the squads. You know, we don't have physically dominant players in midfield. We haven't really got any physically dominant players at the back. And so you can talk about the squad and how good it is, and it is good. When you look at the profiles in the squad, there's a reason why we often get outdone physically because we don't have those physical profiles in there. Right, Enzo Fernandez. He's another one that has come in for a lot of criticism after his performance yesterday. Granted, he wasn't very good. He wasn't, but I feel like he's a very easy target.
He is.
Because of the money spent and people just, constantly looking at him. He wasn't good, but I don't think he was anywhere near as bad as what people said. But the problem for me is that how do you get the best out of him? Because for me, to get the best out of him, you've got to play him as the deepest midfielder, picking the ball up from the defenders and, and starting off those attacks with, with his range of passing that he's got. He's got that range of passing that no one else in our midfield has got. Then on the flip side, yesterday, he was playing more as an advanced 8, and he often found himself in that sort of left space, in that left attacking space. And he just doesn't have that attacking ability. I'm talking about lack of presence in the box. We worked the ball out wide a number of occasions to Madueke, a number of occasions to Sancho. You're looking up to see who's in the box. You've only got Jackson in the box. If you're playing as that advanced number 8, you've got to be getting into the box. And he simply wasn't doing that. So I look at him and I think, I'm a fan of his. He's obviously got ridiculous quality. But what are Argentina doing that we can't do or that we aren't doing? Because he looks a totally different player when he plays for them. And so I don't really know what the answer is. He's going to play because he cost a lot of money. And whether people agree or disagree, there is pressure from above to play big money signings. It might not be directly being told you have to play this guy, but there's a pressure from above. We've seen it with Roman. We know there's a pressure from above to play big money signings. So he is going to play the majority of the time. He's part of the leadership group. He's the captain and whatnot. Well, he's the vice captain. But yeah, I mean, where do you stand on Enzo? Because he divides opinion. I think he's an easy target. People like to scapegoat him. But on the other side, I have to be honest, for the money spent, I'm expecting a lot more from him. He's not been terrible. Yeah. It wasn't a good game yesterday, but from what we've got from our money so far, he has been underwhelming.
Yeah, no, for sure. But, if he cost, it's as simple as if he cost 50, 60 million, the conversations would not be as, amplified as they are now. So money really does play into it, value what we bought him in for. And I think he was really massively overpriced. I think you kind of look at and think
the release clause though, wasn't it?
Pardon?
It was the release clause though,
release clause, yeah, very true. And also because it was a scarce market at the time, that we were almost quite desperate to bring in a player like him. But yeah, it's tough with Enzo because I really like the player. I think criticism though recently is fair. I think he is absolutely a player that can be coached and can be useful, but I think at the moment he's quite hot and cold, and you kind of get different things from him every single game, which doesn't help. I think he gave quite a few balls away. I think he was kind of dispossessed easily. Some of his passes were misplaced, and again he's under a lot of scrutiny because he is that player that costs that much in midfield, and he's our captain now, so of course that spotlight has grown even more because we look at him and we think you're the leader, you're supposed to be the one that others take example from, and you often associate a captain with someone that's quite consistent on a footballing level, don't you? Like someone that can game in, game out, be as good as they are, and nobody doubts them, nobody doubts their potential, their impact, their effect, and all they really have to do is continue their consistency and be a leader. But with Enzo is the fact that he's still lacking his kind of full potential in terms of his footballing abilities. Very different player, like you said, to Argentina. And I think, I've struggled to kind of put a reason to that. I think I cut him a bit of slack last season because not just because he was playing through injury, but because Poch kind of really did switch and chop and change his position quite a little bit. We saw him in the 10, we saw him in 8, we saw him a little bit deeper at times, a little bit more offensive. And it was a little bit easier to say, well, it's kind of you figuring him out. But this season, he's consistently played alongside Caicedo most of the time anyway. And it just seems that you never really know what you're going to get with the partnership. There's games where and I think that's the problem, that we have different games where we praise Enzo and there's others where we praise just Caicedo, but there's not been that many games where we praise them as a duo or as a consistent kind of partnership in midfield, which is a problem. At times, I think that, when we play opposition, midfield is a little bit too quick for him. I think sometimes pace isn't that great. He's a bit slow. Sometimes, it should be go to rather than wait for when it comes to receiving passes. I think that's a bit of a weakness to his game. But again, I think I go back to the price tag. Nobody would be scrutinizing him nearly as much if he cost 50 million when he came in. That wasn't his fault necessarily, but sadly he's got to carry that burden. Is always going to follow him because everyone's going to go back to his fee. But yeah, it's a little bit sad, but like you say, he's here to stay. He's going to start. He's arguably kind of built around now that he's captain and there's the pressure of playing him in our strongest 11. He gets the rest like the other senior players when we play our midweek games, but ultimately I think with him, consistency is a big issue at the moment.
No, I would agree. I've got 2 follow-up questions, right? One, where do you think he should be played to get the best out of him? And then secondly, forget his price, do you actually think Chelsea would be a better team without him? Because I'm not saying he would be, but I actually think in terms of a balance, I just think it's better when you play Lavia and Caicedo. There's not enough evidence yet, but I feel it's better when I feel that the team's better balanced when Lavia's there. I look at Enzo and his quality on the ball, no doubt about it. Off the ball, I think he's a liability.
Yeah.
And I think he lacks discipline. He hasn't got that athleticism to get up and down the pitch, and that's not his fault. He's not an athletic type of player. But when you're defending transitions, you're trying to stop counterattacks. He doesn't get back quick enough. So, I mean, one, where do you think the best place to play him is? And secondly, do you actually think, would he be in your best Chelsea team?
It's tough because last season, when he played as a 10, we were like, no, that's definitely not his position, right?
Well,
And when he played, in that kind of deeper role as an 8 or as a 6, I think it was a lot better. But then again, I still couldn't tell you where his strongest position is. And I think that's a problem. I think he struggles when he comes up against very physical midfielders and he's often pushed off way too easily. And I think, when he is a deeper line midfielder, he often struggles to do the bare minimum of a deeper lying midfielder, which is a problem, like you say. And I think he is a little bit too slow. I think he is too quickly overturned at times. So it's really tough. I think when we saw Lavia play alongside Caicedo, we saw that balance. I think Lavia it was against Man City Lavia played, isn't it, opening day?
That's the only Premier League game Lavia's played.
Yeah, well, there you go. And I think that for him to be able to compete...
That can't be right. Has Lavia only played against City this season? Did he miss 6 games?
He played... Well, he was brought on against...
Oh no, he came on against Brighton, didn't he? Didn't he come on against Brighton?
Yeah, I think so. No, did he? Yes, yes, he did.
No, he did. But then he was completely unused yesterday.
Yeah. I don't know. Well, there you go. But I do agree that, Lavia had a little bit more... I think he improved Caicedo's game as well. And I think you have to take that into consideration that they complemented each other a little bit more, because I think that, Enzo and Caicedo doesn't work every game. And I think that it's very easy to just pick one or the other that's had a better game, right, as opposed to as a duo. And it's very much disconnected in that regard. I think with Lavia, we had a little bit more balance. I think Lavia is a lot more physical, and he tied in our midfield into attack a lot smoother. I think he probably arguably is a bit stronger for set pieces as well, both defending them and attacking them.
It's more physical.
More physical. There you go. And you talk about physical presence.
But then that comes back to the point, right? We spent over 200 million on 2 midfield players, and despite their qualities, you wouldn't really say either of them is a physical presence. And it's like they're both going to play. And look, I think Caicedo's a phenomenal footballer and he's going to be very good for us.
Yeah.
But you look at both of them and you think there's no physical presence there. This is why I was a little, and it's easy to look back now and say it, but you know, where are the profiles in midfield? I mean, I don't know, maybe these players aren't as common anymore, but where's your like players like Matic, for example? Where's those kind of players with that physical profile, Essien and whatnot, playing in them positions? I look at someone like Chukwu, for example. Yeah, he's not really the finished article, but he's that profile which we don't have in the squad. Maybe Andre Santos, slightly similar as well. Perhaps not as physical in stature as an Chukwu, but I look at it, I just think, well, hang on a second. We spent all this money on midfield players, but do we have the right profiles in there? I don't know, because in a physical midfield battle, right, I don't really fancy Enzo or Caicedo to come off, you know, as winners in a physical midfield battle. And that in itself is a big, big problem, because when you're playing physical midfields, like, for example, coming up against Arsenal next month, look at Rice, Partey, big guys. I don't fancy Enzo and Caicedo to win a physical battle there. So they've got different qualities and they're top footballers, but the makeup of the Chelsea midfield in terms of profiles and whatnot, I think Lavia has to play in this team. But the reality is that him, Caicedo, and Enzo are not all going to play. So,
damn, Charlie, this live turned really negative.
No, it's not. No, it's not negative at all. It's a genuine conversation.
We're so positive about the season.
I am positive. All I'm saying is, I think it's a fair point to raise. You know that. The profiles that we've recruited, I think that's part of the reason why we struggle so much in physical games.
Yeah, no, I agree. Physicality is a really big thing. And again, you know, this is one thing that I'm not so much for Caicedo, because he played in the Premier League previously and, you know, was bossing it in midfield for Brighton. But with Enzo, I think that was always a concern for all of us, if he'd be able to keep up with the intensity and physicality, you know, of Premier League midfielders. And I think if we look at him coming up against kind of traditional top six teams midfield, you know, I can't think of a standout game or performance, and I know that's quite easy to say because last season we were abysmal against most of these teams, but where you look at him and you think, yeah, today he competed with, you know, this very, very good midfielder, this very best midfielder, and I think that's the issue. But again, it is tough, and I don't want to sit here and condemn them that much, because I think there's already enough rival fans that criticize our midfielders, so I kind of want to stand up for them. But to answer your question about the profile,
it's just it's a conversation.
No, absolutely, and but you're right in bringing it up, because you're seeing it more and more after each game that, you know, they're the talking points, aren't they? Caicedo and Enzo, and I think that it's a lot easier to ignore a little bit recently, because we've massively been outscoring our opponents and our forwards have really been, you know, lighting it up with ease, and a lot of it has come into Cole Palmer as well. But you do look at it, a lot of our possession is lost in midfield. That's the truth, isn't it? We get overturned very, very quickly and easily in midfield with a ball lost, and that's it. We're hitting transition. So you're talking about how reliable is that midfield. But I very much would like to welcome Lavia back into a Premier League, you know, starting team.
Are you surprised that he's not featured much recently? He's been back from injury for a few games now.
Yeah.
I would have thought yesterday would have been a perfect opportunity to bring him on and get some minutes, to win some control back in that midfield and just calm things down a little bit. I'm surprised we didn't see him. Look, he's a young kid. I think he's 19 or 20 still. He's still very young. Yeah, I promise you. Yeah. No, I'm not making that up. No, let's have a look now. Maybe I might have.
God, I did not know that.
How did you think he was?
I don't know. I would have said 22 or 23.
Yeah, no, he's 20.
He's 20. Okay, that surprised me. That's news to me.
But those kind of physical profiles, and you look at someone like Renato Vega as well. He's got that physicality. Yes, he's been brought in to play as a left back, but he can also play in midfield. Yes, I understand against Bournemouth he was he was lost there. But this is a guy that's new to the Premier League. He's 21 years of age. He looks like he could be a very good player. But then like players we have recruited, like Ugo Chukwu, like Andre Santos, these are more kind of the sort of profiles that we're missing from the squad, which is why I was surprised that we kind of loaned them out in the first place. But yeah, I mean, it's going to be a conversation that probably goes on all season, unless Enzo kind of picks his performance levels up. I haven't got as much of an issue with Caicedo. It was more just a profiles issue. I think Caicedo has performed very, very well this season, put in a number of top performances, and is very important to this team. I would say that he's more important to this team than Enzo is. The team is definitely worse without Caicedo than it is without Fernandes. I think that's just. I don't think that's unfair.
And a lot of people said that as well last season when we ended the season without him as well, isn't it?
Yeah, and again, I was one of them that was like, nah, it's just like
it's just a coincidence.
But I don't want to say I've changed my mind on that, but
yeah,
I wonder if there's something to be said for it. That maybe we just aren't. I don't know. Maybe just I don't want to say Enzo Fernandez is not set up for Premier League football, but it's I don't know. I don't really know is the answer to that.
Well, I guess we'll wait and see. But then, let me ask you this though: when is kind of when's the time frame of when we say that this isn't working and that something a mistake was made or he wasn't the correct profile?
You're not going to say you've made a mistake on a.
But you're not going to say that. But the thing is, now he's captain, right? He's not going to not play.
And he's going to play.
And Enzo Maresca. Sorry, there's too many Enzos. Why are they both called Enzo? Enzo Maresca is almost kind of giving him this responsibility with the saying, I have faith in you, and you're not only important now for being the leader, repping the captain armband, you're also the one that essentially should be becoming a lot more consistent, should be improving, should be becoming much better all round, and there should be more consistency in terms of game in, game out. These are your strengths, these are your weaknesses. I think it's still very hard with Enzo to kind of say what his strengths and I think it's easier to say maybe what his weaknesses are, but I still believe in the fact that I think his range of passing, for example, is
he's the best. He's the only midfielder that can pass the football. I don't mean literally, because they can all pass.
I know what you mean.
What I mean? He's the only midfielder that can pass. Has got that range of passing,
and he can switch play like this, which is again really, really effective considering now that we have so much
pace. I'm sorry, off the ball he's a liability.
I'd agree, and I think positionally as well. I think it's interesting though, because I go back to certain games where Enzo's assists could be so much higher, particularly like last season if we'd actually had more clinical players, right?
Yeah, for a lot of players, but it's true, yeah.
Yeah, do you know what I mean? Like he actually was passing in behind, he was actually trying to kind of create a little bit more. We often saw that he tried to kind of chip defenders and kind of almost surprise defenses and all of that. But again, I think that it's really not helped that he's been too slow at times. I definitely think that's a big issue. I repeat myself, but you've got to be quick.
That's something that's going to change. I don't think there's going to be much improvement in his speed.
Well, he's going to have to be faster.
He's got. Do you know what? He's probably going to have. Do you know what he's going to have to probably be? Is just more intelligent. You can be a very good footballer without pace. You've just got to have a very good brain. Like John Terry, like Thiago Silva. I know it's a slightly different position, but they weren't blessed with pace. But if you get yourself in the right position, you read the game well, that lack of pace isn't an issue. So yeah, look, he's going to play. But for me, he's got to play deep. But you look at all the midfielders we've got, and you would almost say, I mean, I think Lavia is a defensive midfield player, but you could almost say, do we even have a true, what you'd call an out-and-out number 6? I don't know if we do. We've got players that can play in the 6, but would you say there's an out-and-out 6 in the squad? Lavia is probably the closest to it. I'd say Ugo Chukwu was an out-and-out 6, but he's not here right now.
Yeah.
You look at the money spent, 60 odd mil nearly on Lavia, over 100 mil a piece on Enzo and Caicedo. And we're sat here having a conversation. Not that these guys are not top players, because they are, but we're sat here having a conversation where we're like, well, hang on a second.
Does it fit?
Do these pieces fit together? And do we have the right profiles in midfield?
And that would explain it, though, wouldn't it? Why, it works for Argentina, or why it works,
But he
for
plays in a two with
national level.
McAllister.
Huh?
He plays in a two with Alexis McAllister.
So yeah, it's pretty easy though, isn't it?
What?
No, but the thing is though, I think, and I don't know why we've not seen more of Lavia recently, and again, I guess it's still a kind of a situation where Enzo Maresca is really trying to unlock this partnership with Caicedo and Enzo because we want it to work so bad. But
It has
I
to
think
work.
Lavia, huh?
It has to work.
It has to work. Well, that's what I'm saying. That's why he's almost not kind of introducing Lavia in so quickly at the moment. And I guess he's refraining from doing so. But I think a lot of us fans would probably be open to seeing him in that sixth role. Why not?
Yeah, no, well, I agree, but I don't think it's going to change. I don't think it's going to change at all in terms of going to Anfield, for example. It will be Enzo and Caicedo playing there.
Yeah.
It's as simple as that. Enzo and Caicedo will play, and it will be that attacking four. Madueke, Palmer, Jackson, and Sancho probably. So
yeah.
I even just saying that strikes me as pretty risky going to Anfield with like playing that attacking. But then should you really change the way that you play? I mean, there's a lot of questions.
Certainly.
There's a lot of questions. I don't really have the answers to them, but I think Chelsea would be a better team with Romeo Lavia in it. They would be, but then the question is, how do you fit him in? And the only way you're going to fit him in right is if you drop your number 10, which is Cole Palmer, which is not going to happen, or one of your £100 million boys has got to sit on the bench, and Caicedo is not going to be benched. And then Enzo is part of the leadership group now, and he's not going to be benched either. So you've got yourself a massive problem where you spent big money on players, and even though the balance might not be right, and even though it's perhaps not best for the team, they're going to play anyway, and Maresca's got to find a way to make it work. So yeah, mad. Quite thought-inducing that one, isn't it? I've never really thought about it in that much detail before, but
no, I know you've really had me thinking today.
Well, no, it's just that, like, we're playing well. I don't dislike either player, but I think it's an interesting point to raise that.
Certainly.
No, we keep having. It's not just us that having this conversation.
No, of course, it's everyone.
It's a common conversation amongst the Chelsea fan base that could the team be better if Enzo doesn't play? That's really ridiculous conversation to have, but it is true. I know you've got to go in like literally up 2 minutes. Just quickly,
yeah.
What are your thoughts on the this narrative about Madueke being selfish? Because I just don't understand it. Like, I get it that he could probably, at times, instead of taking the shot on all the time, he could obviously look to find a teammate in a better position. But I'm not gonna, he's not like a Sterling where he's not squaring it on like a 3-on-1, or he's like things like that. But you have to admit at times he's gonna he does take the shot on too often when he should look for a teammate. But on the other flank, you've got the opposite issue of Sancho, where he doesn't take the shot on enough and is always looking for a teammate when actually he should just take the shot on more often. I mean, what do you think of this selfish sort of narrative surrounding Madueke? I just don't get it. I haven't seen anything from him where I thought, why are you shooting there when you should have passed to a teammate who was in a much, much better position? I'm just not seeing it.
I think selfish is a bit harsh, but I do think there's definitely an element to his game where he can improve in terms of deciding when is sensible to pass and when is to shoot. Yeah. I think what we saw in the first half especially was at times he was just trying to dribble it literally into the back of the net, when actually if you've taken a little bit, you take a touch or two, look up, see what your options are. If you've not got any and it's easy to shoot, have a shot. But often what happens is Madueke, because he likes to kind of dribble up until the very end, he puts himself at really kind of tight angles. We saw him score those against Wolves, but actually, he shot from a much kind of a bigger
His
distance,
finishing
I'd
was
say.
really good in that game. Like all three goals were virtually exactly the same.
Absolutely. No, that's what I'm saying. But at times he kind of dribbled it up until the very end where now, you're really kind of tight on options what you can do here. But, how much can you complain? Because he won us a few corners from those situations too, at the end of the day. But I think with Madueke, it's really interesting because at the end of the day, you actually praise that he takes it upon himself to shoot because ultimately he gets you the equaliser, he gets you the 1 point, right? So it's interesting. But because we were almost kind of treating the ball like a hot potato at times when we were almost in an opportunity to shoot against Forest, that's what actually led to us not actually being as direct towards goal or not, because everyone was kind of just passing it amongst each other. But Madueke decided to take it upon himself to shoot, and there it is, it's in the back of the net. But I do think that sometimes he does have to pass, and you can see that his teammates do express frustration if they think that they're in an open kind of situation where they were ready or anticipating the pass from Noni and he didn't pass it. But you know what? I actually spotted this. I don't know if you did. I saw Cole Palmer on many occasions receive the ball, and obviously a lot of the time he does kind of lay it off to Madueke there on the right, but at times he hesitated and he didn't do it. So he either took too many touches and then he was eventually had to kind of lay it off to Madueke when he was in like a less kind of open position, right? And I think that's really interesting because I think even Palmer at times hesitates to pass it to Madueke in a situation where he'd rather kind of assess his other options or try a shot himself. So I think it's quite an interesting dynamic, but obviously they're a great duo. They've got some good numbers amongst themselves.
Well, Palmer's assisted all 4 of Madueke's goals this season.
There you go. And he assisted his goal yesterday as well. So I think it's interesting, but I think with Noni is he's improved massively, but he's still got a lot to learn. And I think he knows that. He should know it because
I think a lot of them, I think they all do.
Yeah, no, of course. But in terms of decision making, I think we've seen with Jackson as well, he's become a lot better at decision making, when he should pass, when he should have a shot. I think that's massively improved towards him. We know that Madueke is a great dribbler. He's great one-on-one. Sometimes I think it's still a bit of a lack of decision making with what he does when he beats his man. And I think that will come with a little bit more game time. Do you pass or do you shoot? But yeah, I don't think he's selfish. That's harsh.
No, I agree. I know you've got to go now. Appreciate your time.
Yeah.
Quickly, let the people know where to find you.
You can find me on YouTube. Charlie's tagged my handle in the description.
Yeah, I'm just nice like that.
Nina's Chelsea Corner. Yeah, thanks for helping us small channels out, Charlie. But yeah, I would appreciate a subscribe. We're on the road to 7,000 subs, and you can also find my Instagram, TikTok, and Twitter in my description on YouTube too.
Yeah, great. Nina, thanks so much as always. Catch up with you again soon. Guys, make sure you go and subscribe. It's tagged in the title. Make sure you go and do it. Don't just say you're going to do it. Actually go and do it.
Actually do it.
Yeah. Because we'll know if you've done it or not. So make sure you do.
Make sure you all subscribe to Charlie as well and like the stream, guys.
Nah, thank you. All right, catch up with you soon. See you later.
See you soon. Bye, everyone.
Guys, any questions in the chat about anything? I'm going to continue going for like another sort of 10 minutes or so. So let me know. What is this geezer waffling about? Lavia replacement? No, we're not having a Lavia replacement already. Moroccan DM, bro. What is this waffle you're chatting? Do you want some whipped cream with your waffle? Yeah, Noni was good yesterday. He was good. I want to see midfielder Caicedo and Lavia. So do I. It's a really interesting conversation about that Chelsea midfield. Really interesting conversation. I mean, guys, keep smashing that like button, by the way. We're 48 likes, 64 in the building. Let's get this over 50 likes. Come on, people. We should be smashing the likes. So make sure you are doing that, guys. It's so simple to do. So please do run it up. Make sure you run it up. And let's get this to at least 60 likes, guys. 10 more likes required. But yeah, people, what are you saying in the chat? Any questions that you want to ask about anything, please do let me know. And yeah, let's keep this going, people. Let me see if there's any news coming through on what do you call it? Just any Chelsea news. I don't know why I couldn't get my words out then. But yeah, it's interesting. You know, I'm happy with how things are going. Am I not? Are you not worried about letting teams have so many chances on our goal? No. Look, again, it depends on the quality of the chance. If they're just taking shots from distance, I don't really care. But yeah, you know, if their quality of chance is decent, then yeah, you know, it's going to be a problem. But no, it's not something that I'm worried about. I don't believe that we give up, you know, a high volume of chances. And again, it depends about the quality of the chance. You know, if we're giving up big chances on a regular basis, yeah, it's a concern. But I don't look at us and think we're giving up big chances, because we're not. You know, we're absolutely not. No, I don't think so. I don't think so. You know, I think that's just I don't know what report that was, but there's been nothing on that. And if he was injured, he would have pulled out the France squad, and I'm pretty certain he's not pulled out of the French squad. So yeah, no, just I think a bit of nonsense, to be perfectly honest. I think a bit of nonsense. So yeah, I wouldn't be paying too much attention to that. Interesting question there. Very much football related as always. No. No, brother, if you keep spamming this nonsense, I will just block you. It's very, very simple. Yeah, look, I don't think we are. You know, I don't believe that we are. But yeah, I can understand perhaps why you might be slightly concerned. But yeah, it's just one of them, isn't it? Just one of them. But anyway, yeah. No, Colwell's not injured. There's no issue with that. There's no issue with Colwell at all. I mean, where did he say about having a physical six? Where are those quotes? I've not seen those quotes about him wanting a physical six. Bro, where did he say that? What interview was that taken from? Can you please tell me what interview that was taken from? Yeah, bro, let me know, because I hadn't seen those quotes. It was in the last presser, was it? Someone in the chat find me those quotes about a six. Because I don't want to waste time looking for it now. If someone in the chat could find the quotes on the six, and yeah, let me know, because I must have missed them. I certainly haven't seen them. I must have missed those. But yeah, look, we do have like the six profile. I think Lavia could be that guy. You look at someone like Anuga Chukwu, for example. You know, is that kind of tall, physical, rangy player in the yeah, this brother is getting a this brother is on a madness. This brother is in the timeout. Yep. He's been timed out. See you later, brother. You can go, you know, you've had your fun. But yeah, anyway, it's an interesting one, isn't it? It is an interesting one. And the midfield conversation is fascinating, you know. And I don't want people to think that I'm shitting on Enzo Fernandez. I'm absolutely not. But it's a very interesting topic of conversation. A very, very interesting topic of conversation. And it's like, you know, you're talking about, you know, the makeup and the balance of the Chelsea midfield. It's really interesting. It is really, really interesting, and it's one that we're going to get more answers to over the course of the season. But it's a strange one. It is a strange one. I mean, I don't really know what the answer is, because, you know, Enzo's going to play. Yeah, he might not play for the odd game here and there, but he's not going to be dropped for a consistent period of games. So anyone wanting that is just going to have to just forget it. It's just going to have to forget it. It's it's just one of them, isn't it? It's just one of them. I don't know. I wouldn't agree that he's being forced to start players. I don't subscribe to that narrative. I would agree that there's definitely pressure from above to play big money signings. I believe that's the case. I mean, I've got no way of quantifying that, but I certainly believe that that's a possibility. But look, he's in the leadership group. No one's telling him to make him vice captain or anything like that. No, I don't look at this Chelsea team and think, a Conor Gallagher style player is what's missing. No, I absolutely don't believe that to be the case. Yes, I think so, but we're going to have to sort of make some sort of room for him. Whether that's a Cassidy that makes way. I'm not too sure, but yeah, we are going to have to obviously, we're going to have to try and make some sort of room for him. But yeah, Santos should absolutely be part of the Chelsea squad going forward. That's the reality of it. He should be part of the squad going forward. So let's see how they get on. Let's see how they get on. But yeah, I would have thought Santos would be. Maresca hints that he needs to want some more physical six. This season, we use Cesare as a holding midfielder. Football is going in a direction where probably in the middle. I think I did see that. I just didn't really pay much attention to it. No, I think I did see that. Have you seen the recent news going on at City, Chelsea, and Newcastle? Yeah, of course, Yeah, I don't know if it's for corruption, but yeah, Chelsea should be siding with City because the PL have fucked us over by not allowing us that Paramount Plus deal, amongst various other things. So yeah, we should absolutely be, siding with City on this one. Absolutely, we should be. So I've got no issues with that whatsoever. After the way they treated us with the sanctions business and then screwing us over the Paramount deal, yeah, the Premier League can the Premier League can forget ever having any support from us anytime soon. Guys, make sure you're still smashing that like button. It's free. It takes seconds to do so, so make sure you are running it up. I would really, really appreciate that. So please make sure that you do it, guys. Make sure that you do it. Run it up, run it up, run it up. Please also subscribe to the channel if you are new around here. I would greatly appreciate that. It's free. It takes seconds to do. So please make sure you are subscribing, guys. We are 65 subscribers away from 12k. It feels like we've been taking forever for these last 100 subscribers. So if you're new around here and you're not subscribed, please, please, please hit that subscribe button. I'd be forever grateful, guys. Forever grateful. Because they're not about football, are they? What else is going on here? Well, Sterling won't be playing against us because it will, as part of the loan deals, you're not going to be able to play against your former side, which is why also Sancho won't be able to play against Man United, unfortunately, because he's on loan at the moment. So that's the way that it goes with that one. That is the way that it goes with that one. And yeah, there's no injury issues with Colwell. He's just been pictured arriving for training. Royal fans were saying we couldn't break down 10 men for us, but I think we could. We were just extremely, yeah, no, we absolutely could. We absolutely did. We look, they made it difficult for us, but we did break them down. We absolutely did break them down. We created a lot of opportunities to win that game. We just didn't take our chances. That's what it came down to at the end of the day. We didn't struggle to break them down. We just didn't take the opportunities that we created. That's the reality of the situation. We just didn't create the chances. So yeah, I fully agree. I played like on the left. Fourth is wide open. Yeah, look, the fourth is there for the taking. It absolutely is. I think on this early stage of how things are, I very much feel that that it's between us and Villa so far on the early evidence. On the early evidence, I feel it's between us and Villa. Yeah, we absolutely can. We absolutely can. But it's going to be very, very tough, and we're going to have to be absolutely at our best. Absolutely at our best. Looking forward to seeing Vega. Don't know who plays the right centre back though. Well, it's going to be Tosin. It's going to be Tosin. You know, we there's no point pretending otherwise. We all know it's going to be Tosin Adarabioyo that's going to play at right back. We all know it's going to be him. So yeah, that's all. That's all fine. No issues at all on that front. But yeah, look, I think Tosin can do a job there. I absolutely agree. I absolutely agree that Tosin can do a job there. Look, you know, it's not. Look, it's too early to be talking about a draw against Forest costing us the top four. We're 7 games into the season. You know, yeah, we don't want to be repeating too many of those results, but it's way too early to be sort of calling panic stations on that one. Way too early. Way too early. What else are we looking at here? Guys, we're 5 likes away from 60. Please keep smashing that like button. It's free. It takes seconds to do so. So please run it up. I would greatly appreciate that. So make sure you are smashing that like button. 4 more likes, guys. 61 in the building. Please just hit the like button. It really helps me out. Look, I don't classify Man U as in the race for the top 4, although it depends what gaffer they get in. That's going to be the reality. You know, if they were to get a Thomas Tuchel in, for example, then maybe he might be able to turn it around. But already they're quite a number of points off the top 4. I think I don't think Spurs are really in the conversation from what I've seen from them so far. So yeah, I do believe it's between us and Aston Villa at this early stage. At this early stage of proceedings. Yeah, I think he'll do a good job. I think he can do a good job for this game. Left winger. I think he can do a good job for this game. But yeah, that's the way it goes. That's the way that it goes. Guys, 2 more likes. Keep smashing the like button. Come on, people. I don't know. I'm pretty certain he played as as part of a back 4 at Fulham. So yeah, I don't know if a back 3 would necessarily be any better. I don't know if a back 3 would be better, to be perfectly honest. I'm not sure it would be. Yeah, Mudryk has been very good in the last couple of games. A really impressive cameo against Forest. Superb run and brilliant cross, which Nkunku should have buried for the winner. And yeah, I thought he was decent against Ghent as well. It's been a promising week for Mudryk. Hopefully, he has a good international break, and he could be a good, interesting option for us against Liverpool. He could very much be an interesting option against Liverpool. He really could be. Well, I mean, I don't know who it's going to be, but yeah, look, Liverpool got quality players in attack, and yeah, it's going to be one of those where we're going to have to be at our best. And I think Tosin can certainly step up and do a job. So yeah, let's wait and see on that front. Yeah, I don't know what's happened to him. He's not been in the chat very much recently. Maybe I don't know. Hopefully he's all right. But yeah, yeah, he's obviously not been in the chat much recently. I don't know why he thinks United are going to finish top four. They're absolutely dreadful. But yeah, that's where we're at. Vega could be our most important buy. I wouldn't say most important, but he's going to be very useful because, as you say, yeah, he can play in a whole raft of different positions, which is really important. Which is really, really important. So yeah, that's going to be a very, very interesting one. A very interesting one. And yeah, there's no injury issues with Fofana at all. I don't know who was mentioning Fofana injury problems in the chat because he has just he's arrived for France duty. There he is. He's arrived with the French for duty with the France team. So yeah, no issues there. Fofana is he's all good. So yeah, I'm not sure who mentioned that Fofana was injured, but he's absolutely not. No, again, nonsense. He's been pictured. He's at England now. He's arrived for England duty. So again, that's just not true. Guys, 2 more likes. Come on, let's run it up to the 60 likes, people. We're almost there now. Make sure you are smashing that like button. It's free. It takes seconds to do, guys. I need 2 more likes for the 60. Come on, there's 55 in the building still. Let's get this to the 60 likes. Let's get to the 60 likes. Come on, people. Yes, Luke, big up, brother. I hope so as well. That's the plan. Just got to keep going. Just got to keep going. Agree so much with what you and Nick discussed. Have a great week, mate. Yeah, thank you for the support, brother. Greatly appreciated. I hope everything is going well with you. Bro, why are you fuming? We played well, and it just wasn't our day. I don't think there's anything to be fuming about. To be perfectly honest, I really don't think there's anything to be fuming about. Would I start in Nkunku against Liverpool? No, probably not. Yeah, Colwell's been really good recently. What's our most stacked individual position? There's probably the wide areas, isn't it? You've got Neto, Madueke, Mudryk, Sancho, the 10 maybe, Felix, and no, the attacking areas for sure. I wish Nkunku, Colwell, yeah. Bro, I tried to tell people about this. Look, I want to be proven wrong. I want to be proven wrong. But once again, so far in the evidence, I'm finding myself being proven correct. That the idea of Felix is far greater than the reality. He hasn't got any end product. He's not been awful, but for me, it was a pointless signing. And I said it at the time. And so far, I've not seen anything to demonstrate to me that I've made a wrong choice. I just simply haven't seen anything to suggest otherwise, that I've made a wrong choice on that one. So yeah, it's gonna be interesting. It's gonna be interesting. It will be very interesting. So yeah, let's see what happens on that front. But yeah, the game was a good game. I just thought the coach made subs too late. Yeah, agreed. I think that's fair. No, I think that's also a fair thing to say. I also think that's a fair thing to say, guys. We should have bought him already on. I mean, we didn't score against Porto, but Felix is too inconsistent. Had a potential, just never found a way to be consistent. Yeah, look, he's still only 24, but yeah, I would agree that we need to see more. We need to see more. Yeah, of course, you always hope that, That's what you always hope for. That is what you always hope for. So let's hope that is the case. Let's hope that is the case. But yeah, you know, I haven't really got any issues with any of that. But yeah, guys, any further questions? Going to round this one out in a few moments' time. But if you have got any additional questions, please do let me know in the chat, and I'll have a quick scroll through to see if there's any final bits of news that we haven't discussed. I don't think there is anything else. No, I don't think he is. We finished 2 XG higher. Lots of players were poor, but yet the team still played better. No, it's not bad. What about Sanchez against Bournemouth and Forest? He was man of the match, but how many moments when with Arsenal and Brighton he gave Yeah. You know, I think that's fair. Mixed impressions. No, he doesn't want to play him at left back. I think he just mentioned he could be a player that could do it in an emergency or something like that. Yeah, absolutely. Ready to go. For sure. Gusto can't play. I wouldn't say he can't play inverted, but I don't think it suits his skill set. He'd definitely be better suited to playing just a traditional right back. The inverting definitely suits Cucurella far better. So I don't really know why that's the case. And just a quick update on Wesley Fofana. Very brief update on Wesley Fofana. Just a quick one. At Chelsea's request, Wesley Fofana will undergo tests at Clairefontaine this evening for a blow received to the right shin 3 weeks ago. Barring any unpleasant surprises, Fofana should be able to stay with the France squad. So he's not injured. He's just going to have a quick look at, something that happened 3 weeks ago, which obviously can't be that big of a problem. And then he should stay with the France squad. So there we go. Right, guys, I'm going to round this one out. Big up to everyone who has tuned in. As always, it is greatly appreciated. Greatly appreciated, guys. So love for all the support. Yeah, I'm going to be trying to do these on a daily basis again now. Get ourselves back in favor in the YouTube algorithm, boost our viewing numbers and all that sort of stuff. But yeah, people, thank you so much for tuning in. Make sure you smash the likes on the way out. Make sure you are subscribing to the channel if you are new round here as well. Also, make sure you go and subscribe to Nina, guys. The channel is added in the title, so make sure you go over there and show her some love as well. We are closing in on 12k. I feel like a broken record saying it, but we are getting ever closer to the 12k now. So yeah, if you're new round here and you're not subscribed, please make sure you subscribe to the channel. Help me get to that 12k. And yeah, guys, I will be back tomorrow. Hopefully I'll have another guest with me. I'm not sure who it's going to be yet. We'll make some inquiries this evening, but yeah, hopefully I'll have another guest with me. And yeah, I will be back tomorrow with some more content, some more Chelsea-based discussion, because at the end of the day, it's all good fun, isn't it? It's all good fun. So make sure you come back tomorrow for that. But yeah, guys, love for the support. Smash the like, subscribe, all of that good stuff. I'll catch you guys again tomorrow. Up the Chelsea and peace out.